Hi everybody. In this episode I enlisted some help from my friend Brian to help put some butyl tape underneath the mounts of the solar arch to keep the water out. And then those blocks that I installed, I ran some cabling across them now, so that was handy. And we finished off the Victron Quattro installation. Enjoy this episode. I don't know what the significance of these icons are here on the thing. Maybe it's get drunk and install it in the rain. Basically making a runner on each side. I'm going to fish my radar cable through there for the power.
Okay.
So that way we won't see the
wires. The cables.
And then those two solar cables on that side, I've got to back out and then fish through that pole after. I'll do that on a warm day.
Yep.
It's perfect. Done.
Beautiful. Like a dream.
It's nice when it's a sharp bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get the beetle tape on.
Yeah.
We got her all done. Basically, you can see the beetle tape here around, or butyl tape. So I've got all of the connection points here done. I've got lock washer, and a few other things, a plate on each one. So it's definitely done properly. And I don't have my thing, but there's the plate and the washers and stuff. So it's going to be raining tomorrow, so I'll check it and see how badly it's leaking. Hopefully it's not, but we'll see what's happening. And then definitely don't want to have to do that again, because that was a real pain. Now is I took out the VE Direct cable. I learned something about this thing as I didn't have the Bluetooth model, and when you connect the VE Direct, you lose my little Bluetooth dongle. I had dongles on them before. I didn't quite get advised properly on the kind of like the whole Victron scenario goes together, so I really should have had the Bluetooth version of this. With 20 amps charging, it's 5 hours to 100% capacity. At the most I'm going to get is 10, but it'll get to 10 amps. So I need like 10 hours. So a couple of days and it should be charged up. All right. Seems like looking at the graphs, by 7 a.m. is my low peak. I'm usually around 70%, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm pretty much 100%, and that's even with consumption. You can see there between 10 and 11, I've actually been using a lot, so because we were cooking. So even during that, I was still producing quite a bit of energy. So usually by noon or 2 o'clock, somewhere in that range, it's fully charged, just depending upon how much I use. All right. So I'm just going to double check the charging limits, because I just want to make sure the low temperature cutoff is working. So 14.6 times 4 is 58.4 charging limit. Equalizer charging is 14 volts, so 14 times 4 is 56. Alright, so the voltage measured by all LiFePO4 batteries during charging is not the real voltage of the battery. Therefore, after charging and disconnecting the battery from the power source, the voltage of the battery will gradually drop to its real voltage. If you need to test the real voltage of the battery, then please charge and disconnect the power supply and test the voltage after putting it aside for over 15 minutes. That's interesting. So it's saying do the 15-minute, let it sit for 15 minutes. Prevent damage in lithium batteries by disabling the charger during low temperature condition. Warning, this setting only takes effect when the battery temperature is shared by other devices, for example, a BMV and a VE smart network. There you go. So technically, it'll set it, but it doesn't. If it doesn't get the voltage coming in, then like the Bluetooth, then it won't actually do anything. So it needs to get the voltage somehow through the smart network, is what it's saying. So through the VE.smart network. So it's interesting. So the software in this doesn't have Bluetooth. Sorry, the device doesn't have Bluetooth, the MPPT controller, but the software is set up to actually do that. So the setting is here, but actually I don't think it'll do anything. I'm definitely going to need to replace that device then, which just kind of sucks. But you know what? Going out on a long journey, if I lose my charging, that's like my lifeblood, right? Even though that's a robust device from my understanding. So what I'll do is I'll just pack that one up, put it aside, and keep it as a spare. That's about all I can do, right? So then if I have a spare, if I ever lose the one that I'll replace here on Friday with the Bluetooth in it, then at least I can put it in and get it going. And I'll hold on to my Bluetooth dongle here so that I can program it. So that's one of the things that sucks. But I thought I'd just go into this a little bit more detail to try to explain what I had really learned through the implementation of the Victron products. You really need to have the Bluetooth version of the products for them to send data to each other. So, for example, I ended up buying the Smart Battery Sense monitor, which is like a little box that you stick inside the battery compartment, and it attaches to the batteries and sends out the actual voltage of the batteries and the temperature right there in the battery compartment. And then here in the solar MPPT controller, there's an icon here at the top middle that when you click it, that shows what they call VE Smart Networking. And it basically, the VE Smart Networking communicates over Bluetooth, and it's how each device sends data to each other. So in this particular case, I've got the battery sense module sending data over the VE Smart Networking to the MPPT controller, and also my BVM, my battery monitor, the BVM 712, is also sending data out over Bluetooth to the to all the devices on this VE Smart Networking, including the Cerbo GX. So now this, for example, the solar MPPT controller is able to see battery current, battery voltage, and battery temperature based off of the other products. And that's how it makes a decision, for example, on the low temperature cutoff to not charge the lithium batteries. So I have it set that if the battery compartment is 8 degrees, don't charge. So really important to make sure that you've got the Bluetooth versions of the products and that you set up that VE Smart Networking. So in my case, I had the Blue Solar MPPT controller, not the Smart Solar. And the Blue Solar worked fine, did everything the job that I needed to do. It just didn't communicate for the low temperature cutoff because it didn't have the ability to communicate via Bluetooth. And that's why you need the Bluetooth. That's from what I understand. So right now, the voltage coming in is 61. My voltage is 53. And it is technically charging. It's doing a trickle charge with 11 watts. So I don't think it's really doing anything. And it's obviously not going to read the temperature. So this is the way that I did my disconnect. I don't really want to take any chances with it. Tomorrow's going to be raining anyways. I'll be back. So I just basically took the breaker out. And the minute I took the breaker out, then there is no... so now there's 0 coming in, voltage in, so it's off. So I'll just leave it off. Alright, so that ends my day. I'm going to get out of here now and get some supper in me. But like I said, really grateful to get my solar arch beetle taped in. So it's basically, I also got the holes drilled for me to fish the wires through. So that's gonna, basically I got the bulk of it done. So the last thing I really need to do to be able to go in the water properly is the windows. And once the windows are in, then I can kind of do what I need to do. So tomorrow I'm going to try to get the paint on the outside to put the windows in. That's actually the part that's missing, is the paint. So see if I can get that done. Alright, so another little missing piece to my puzzle here. I'm actually just going to bring this up and over behind and get this into slot number 2. Now I've got to work on getting this GX Touch wired. So there you go. Now I've got 28 watts of DC power coming from the battery. I'm just get curious actually with that. I'm going to put that right here. And we're going to check a couple things. But I got battery information, which is good. So I'm going to go direct to the battery just so I know what it's actually looking at here. So it is saying 55.18, and it's kind of rounded up 55.2. And I've got 28 watts. So I don't know where that 28 watts is coming from. So I said, like, I got to figure out how to get more of this information. And the last piece is going to be my connecting up my Raymarine Axiom product. But yeah, you see, so I do have 0.4 amps of current here. And it's telling the system here that the charger has 28 watts. But the DC system is using 28 watts. The temperature's 10, so it's definitely on, and I can see that it's on. So the solar is generating 31 watts of power. But I'm getting a little bit of wattage here. But I'm assuming it's just offsetting maybe the cost of running the equipment. Maybe all this equipment's running at 28 watts. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised here, actually. What I later learned was that my induction cooktop has this phantom 24 watts of power that it's always pulling. So if I leave my circuit breaker on with the induction the induction cooktop off, it's still pulling 24 watts out of it. And I didn't know that. So I already learned something here just by plugging it in. I think what's happening is that the solar charger was trying to offset the wattage that was being used. So effectively, I'm running my DC off of the solar is actually what it's doing. So the solar coming in, and then when I hit the battery, you can see that there's actually 0 watts is what it's telling me of what I'm consuming, because my power in is matching my load. For example, like this little temperature sensor, the battery sense, it's showing, hey, I've got a temperature of 10 and I've got an exact voltage on the batteries of 55.17. And then in the smart network, it says, I'm transmitting this data. So this is actually really useful. So then the smart solar, when you connect to it, it also has that same little VE direct smart networking. And it says, I'm receiving battery voltage, battery current, and battery temperature. So each unit then is getting data from the other units. So that's actually what the current DC load is. 11 watts, somewhere between 6 and 11 watts, depending upon what's going on. So if I turn my lights back on, it's going to need a little bit more. So now my load went up to 28 watts. And the panels are going to kick in because I'm going to be taking some from the batteries. So you can see here, it's taking 0.2 amps from the batteries. Now my solar is charging, going up a little bit to match. Now I'm getting 0.1 from the 0 from the batteries. So it's actually smart enough to realize that, hey, I've got enough power on the solar to match the draw from the batteries. And because the shunt's in the way, I'm no longer pulling any power out of the batteries. So that's really cool. And then it's like, oh, I need to charge the batteries a little bit. Let's just pull a little bit more in. and we'll send some over to the battery. So that's what this Cerbo is helping with. It's helping with the determination of all of that. So yeah, I'm really happy to have this on here. So the next little piece that I need is my Axiom, which is over here. It's not installed here yet, but my chart plotter has the ability of being it's a multifunction display as well. So I'm going to get the right cable to connect it into one of these. It's supposed to go into Ethernet, I think. This one here is Ethernet, I think. This one in the front. So I think I can go direct from this cable, this port, to the Raymarine. So I'm going to go give them a call and see if I can find out which cable it is that I need. Anyways, that's the update. So still working through my electricals, but I'm really glad to start getting this hooked up. It's starting to make sense to me, and starting to be useful. So I'm going to have the fun of I decided to put the monitor, the GE Touch, here. So I'm going to put it right in here and run the wires through the wall. So they're about here somewhere, and best I can tell is that it will fit here. The thing's damn heavy, so I don't want to be doing this more than once. And we're going to have to drill some pilot holes, I think, but I just want to first size this thing up here. I've already got a hole here because I have to lift it above that and slide it on. Need a bigger Phillips. No, I'm thinking I want a bigger screw or bigger drill than this. I used 1/8, but I think these screws are a bit bigger. There we go. Just need a new battery. I'll be back with a new battery. All right. Now this here, I just want to make sure that I don't pinch any of this wire. The Raymarine one is the most important, so I'm going to just try to leverage my arm here and not use my back. So I can just lift this up with my arm underneath here. Oh, nope. Is pretty awesome. Okay, well, I got this extension cord, 10 gauge, outdoor contractor cable, and this is going to be my AC, capable of handling 30 amps. And it's very shielded, this cable. It's pretty thick, actually. I'm impressed with it. So you can see my line is running down, and I had epoxied a block up here already, so I'm just going to take that and put that right up there. Strip a little bit of this off and give myself, looks like ground, line, and neutral. And I'm barely scouring this thing. There we go. Okay, see, that's pretty thick insulating. I don't know how they make these wires, but I tell you, they certainly do a good job at it. Okay, so ground is green. neutral is white and line is black. This Quattro install is interesting. Anyways, I was reading the manual and then checking the AYB standards there, and I need to fuse it. So I said I had this 30 amp circuit breaker, so I said okay, well I'll do that and put it in here, one of those Blue Sea, just a short quick disconnect. Well, of course I get my box, everything all done, all wired up, and it's just too short to fit in the damn box because of the wires behind it. It fit before, and I don't know what's going on. So I'm basically going to pull that thing out of here, and then I'm leaving the box there, and I'm going to try to squeeze this in here. It's like a weather cover, so it's an extension, and I'm hoping that this is deep enough to be able to screw on the top and then give me some room here for my cable. And this is the biggest pain in my butt, as in physically it's hurting. I got the windows in, or not in, but all finished, inside and out. It's prepped, and I'm just waiting for the paint to dry. And then tomorrow, Brian's going to give me a hand putting the windows in and the new window frames on the inside, which aren't painted yet because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with them. So I'm going to put them in. I can always take them out after, but right now, for now,